The string quartet played softly, their violins filling the Belmont Hotel's ballroom with delicate notes of canon in D crystal chandeliers glimmered above, and the scent of white lilies mingled with champagne bubbles that never seemed to stop flowing. Guests laughed, glasses clinked, and somewhere in the center of it all, glowing like a magazine bride, stood Samantha Parker, Emma's older sister. Emma forced a smile as she adjusted the hem of her pale blue dress. "You look beautiful," she had whispered earlier that day when Samantha stepped into her gown. And Samantha had smiled, that perfect, photo-ready smile, the kind Emma remembered from every childhood memory. Samantha always looked perfect. Emma was the quiet one, the helper, the afterthought. Now, watching her sister dance with her new husband beneath the golden lights, Emma felt a pang in her chest that had nothing to do with jealousy, just quiet loneliness. It was supposed to be her year. A year ago, she'd been the one with a ring on her finger, planning her own wedding in this very same venue. Until the day she walked in on her fiancé, Mark, kissing her best friend. The memory flashed before her eyes like lightning. The sound of her heart breaking, the humiliation of pitying glances. Since then, she'd sworn off love. Her mother's voice broke her reverie. "Emma, dear, why are you standing? Go sit down." She looked toward her assigned table, table 17. It was all the way in the back, next to the kids' section and the catering door. The rest of the tables were full of couples and families. Every seat seemed taken by laughter and conversation, except hers. She swallowed hard. "Sure, Mom." As she walked toward the table, her heels clicked on the polished marble floor. She could feel the glances, some curious, some pitying. The poor single sister, the one who was left behind. She sat down, straightened her napkin, and tried not to notice that the seat beside her was empty. The name card beside her read, "Guest TBD." Apparently no one had shown up. Across the room, bridesmaids from Samantha's circle were giggling over selfies. One of them pointed toward Emma and whispered something. The other laughed behind her glass of rosé. Emma lowered her gaze to her plate. Her chest ached. She wished she could just disappear. The toast began. Funny stories, romantic speeches, laughter ringing out like champagne fizz. But Emma barely heard them. Every word reminded her of something she had lost. When the music started again, couples filled the dance floor. Emma decided to retreat, maybe get a drink, maybe hide near the dessert table until it was time to leave. She stood near the cake table, pretending to study the pastries. A tall man appeared beside her, balancing 2 plates of red velvet cake and looking slightly uncomfortable in his navy suit. He had kind brown eyes and a few strands of hair that refused to stay combed. A young boy around 8 clung to his arm, sleepy, yet curious. The man glanced at her, then at the cake, then back again. "Mind if I say something totally random?" Emma blinked, caught off guard. "Go ahead." He lowered his voice conspiratorially. "You look about as thrilled to be here as I am." She let out a soft laugh. "That obvious?" He grinned, only to someone equally miserable. He extended his hand. "Jack Coleman, and this is my partner in crime, Eli." The boy gave a shy wave, his bow tie slightly crooked. "I'm Emma," she said, shaking his hand. "So what brings you to the most glamorous party in Austin?" Jack sighed dramatically. "My cousin. She's the bride's friend. Dragged me here as her +1 because she didn't want me to be alone. She conveniently forgot to mention her ex would be here, with his new girlfriend." Emma chuckled. "That's cruel." "Yeah," he said. "So I've been eating cake to cope. Works better than therapy." He hesitated, then leaned closer. "Actually, I was wondering, could you help me out?" "Help you?" He gestured toward a table near the dance floor, where a glamorous woman was glancing over with a smug smirk. "That's my ex. She's been giving me looks all night like she won some kind of prize. If I walk over there alone one more time, I might lose my mind. So I was thinking—" He smiled sheepishly. "Would you pretend to be with me? Just for the evening?" Emma stared at him, half amused, half stunned. "You want me to pretend to be your date?" He nodded. "You'd be saving my dignity, and I'll share the cake." She laughed. A real laugh, one that shook away the heaviness that had been suffocating her all day. "Well, when you put it that way," she hesitated, then smiled. "Why not? It's not like anyone else here is dying to sit with me." Jack's grin widened. "Then it's a deal. Come on, Emma, let's make my ex jealous and give the gossip something to talk about." He offered his arm and she took it. As they walked together toward his table, Emma felt 100 eyes follow them. The whispers she had dreaded now buzzed for a different reason. She caught Samantha's surprised expression across the room, confusion mixed with curiosity. Jack pulled out her chair like a gentleman, introduced her to Eli properly, and slid her a plate of cake. "Here," he said, "the best therapy you'll ever taste." Of course, anything less would be a crime. As she took a bite, the sweetness melted on her tongue, and she smiled for the first time in weeks. Eli leaned toward her. "You're pretty," he said matter-of-factly. "It's okay," Emma said, laughing. "Thank you, Eli." The boy beamed, and Jack shook his head, smiling. "See what I mean? My wingman has no filter." The band began a slow song, and Jack stood offering his hand. "Care to dance, Miss Pretend Date?" She hesitated, but his eyes were so warm, his voice so steady, that her loneliness melted away. She placed her hand in his. Under the golden light, surrounded by murmurs and laughter, they began to dance. At first, awkwardly, she kept apologizing for stepping on his shoes. He kept joking about his terrible rhythm. But soon, something changed. Their movements synced, their laughter softened. For the first time that evening, Emma didn't feel invisible. She wasn't the forgotten sister, the jilted bride-to-be, or the lonely girl at the back table. She was simply Emma, smiling, laughing, alive. When the song ended, Jack leaned close, whispering, "You know, for someone who's pretending, you're doing an awfully good job." She met his eyes, and her heart did something it hadn't done in a long time. It fluttered. The wedding was almost over. The chandeliers dimmed, the laughter softened, and guests began to leave in twos and threes, carrying the glow of champagne and romance with them. Emma found herself standing by the balcony doors, the night air curling against her skin. Behind her, the last song played, a slow, wistful melody that made her chest ache in the best possible way. She had danced, laughed, even joked about cake with a stranger who somehow made her feel seen again. Jack Coleman. The name rolled through her thoughts like a whisper she didn't want to forget. She turned slightly and saw him near the exit, bending to help his son Eli with his tiny suit jacket. The little boy yawned, his curly hair sticking up, sleepy but smiling. When Jack glanced up and caught Emma watching, he smiled. That same crooked, easy smile that had melted the weight of her loneliness earlier that night. She hadn't expected to feel this. He made his way over to her, holding 2 paper cups of coffee. "Truce offering," he said. "They were out of cake, but caffeine's a close second." Emma accepted the cup. "You've saved me twice tonight, first from humiliation, now from sleepwalking." He chuckled, leaning on the railing beside her. "You know, when I asked you to pretend to be my date, I didn't think it would actually work. My ex looked like she bit into a lemon." Emma laughed softly. "Happy to be your accidental revenge plot." Jack smiled, but then grew serious. "You know, it wasn't just about her. It was about feeling like I still had a life, like I could be someone other than the divorced guy with a kid." She looked at him thoughtfully. "You're a good dad. That's a lot more than some people can say." He nodded slowly. "I try. It's not easy. His mom moved out 2 years ago, said she needed more freedom. I don't blame her, but sometimes I wonder if I'm enough for him." Emma's heart softened. "He adores you. You can see it in the way he looks at you, like you're his whole world." Jack smiled a little sadly. "Maybe, but it gets lonely. You get it, don't you?" She nodded. "Yeah. I was supposed to get married last fall. Found out my fiancé had been cheating with my best friend of all people. So yeah, I know lonely." "Brutal." "It was," she admitted. "I thought I'd never show my face again. And tonight my sister gets her perfect wedding, while I'm sitting in the back pretending I'm fine." He looked at her gently. "You don't have to pretend with me." She met his eyes. and something in her chest broke open. For the first time in months, she didn't feel invisible. She felt alive. They stood in silence, listening to the hum of crickets beyond the balcony and the faint laughter from the ballroom. Then Jack said quietly, "You know, I wasn't pretending either." She blinked. "What do you mean?" "When I asked you to act like you were with me, somewhere along the way, I started wishing it were true." Emma froze, her fingers tightening around the coffee cup. "Jack?" He smiled softly. "I'm not saying anything crazy, just tonight felt good, you felt good, like sunshine after a long winter." Her heart raced, but she didn't know what to say. Part of her wanted to run. She'd only just started healing. But another part, the part that had been numb for too long, wanted to stay. She looked at him. "Maybe it doesn't have to end with tonight." He raised an eyebrow. "Are you saying what I think you're saying?" She shrugged, smiling shyly. "Maybe we could have coffee sometime. Real coffee, not fake date coffee." Jack grinned. "You're on." Just then, Eli came running up, his small voice cutting through the quiet. "Dad, I forgot my jacket on the chair." Jack crouched down, ruffling his son's hair. "All right, buddy, we'll go grab it." Eli turned to Emma, blinking sleepily. "Will you come to breakfast tomorrow? We always get pancakes after big parties." Emma laughed softly. "Pancakes, huh?" Jack looked up at her, hopeful. "It's kind of our tradition." She hesitated only for a second. Then, "Yeah, I'll come." The sunlight spilled through the windows of Maggie's Diner, a small, cheerful cafe on the corner of 6th Street. Emma arrived in jeans and a soft sweater, hair loose, heart fluttering in a way it hadn't for months. Jack and Eli were already there, sitting in a booth near the window. Eli waved enthusiastically when he saw her. "You came." "I said I would," she smiled, sliding into the seat. She blushed. "Maybe it's the pancakes." He laughed, handing her a menu. "Then I'll take credit for introducing you to the best in Texas." They talked easily, like old friends, about movies, childhood dreams, Eli's obsession with dinosaurs, and how Emma once wanted to be a writer. Every minute felt light, effortless. At one point, Eli announced through a mouthful of syrup, "Dad, I like Emma. She laughs at your bad jokes." Jack grinned. "That's how you know she's special, kid." Emma's cheeks warmed. "You two are quite the team." Jack looked at her then, really looked at her, and in that moment, there was something unspoken between them, a quiet understanding that sometimes the best things in life happen when you stop searching. Emma walked through the same park where the wedding photos had been taken. The trees were golden with autumn leaves, and laughter echoed from the playground. Jack sat on a bench, watching Eli race down the slide. When he saw her, he stood, smiling. "You made it." "Wouldn't miss it," she said. They walked together, hands brushing, conversation easy. Every time Eli shouted, Jack's eyes softened with pride. And every time Emma caught that look, her heart melted a little more. "You ever think," she said quietly, "how strange it is, how two people can meet by pure accident and somehow fit?" Jack looked at her, then reached for her hand. "No accidents," he said, "just timing." She smiled, and good timing then. He squeezed her hand gently, the best. As they watched Eli chase a kite across the field, Emma realized something profound. She had come to her sister's wedding broken, convinced she was unworthy of love. But sometimes life doesn't give you what you planned. It gives you what you need. And all it took was one stranger, a slice of cake, and the courage to sit somewhere new.